Okay, hopefully this will teach you how to do isolations. While it is capable to do isolations with glow sticks, it tends to work a lot easier with poi. Usually you can just practice with a sock with a tennis ball or golf ball or something like that in it for weight. It works better because the weight is easier to isolate. With the glow stick it's a little too light and flimsy. The basic motion, regular spinning, your hand stays stationary and the poi moves around it. For an isolation, you rotate around a center point on the string, somewhere in the middle of the string, and your hand does small circles. When you finally figure this motion out, you do not need to really focus on what your hand is doing so much as the way that it feels, because it kind of almost falls out of its orbit, but then by moving your hand you enable it to stay in orbit. So practice this with one hand, both directions, slow and fast, and then the other direction, slow and fast, not too fast, until you're pretty good at that, and then practice your other hand. Left hand's probably going to be harder as always. And then once you have those down, you can start to do isolated moves. An isolation is a category, so it has a lot of moves encompassed in it. You can almost isolate any move. This is just at your sides. You can isolate that. There's an isolated buzzsaw, which is my favorite. Do kind of a crank motion with your hands like you're pedaling a bike. Takes a while to get down, but very fun. And then there's a reverse one on that too. Then there's the crank, where you just kind of stand here and isolate that. Two directions, because there's two directions in everything. And then, once you start getting more advanced with it, you can start doing isolated weaves. This is an isolated reverse weave. And then I developed something, I don't really have a name for it other than maybe buzzsaw with alternating takeouts that are isolated. It's kind of like an isolated weave, but not quite. It's more buzzsaw oriented. And you can also isolate butterflies. Just for your standard butterfly, kind of take it apart. You can do isolated takeouts, just kind of do it behind the plane of the butterfly there. And that